Good evening and welcome to the Laughing Monkey Music Show. Today we're on Virgin Steele singer David Defeis. How are you?
Greetings. I'm well. And you?
I'm good. I'm good. Been a fan of
All
you
right.
guys. Dig your music. I think you guys are a lot different than a lot of other artists, and you stayed true to who
That's
you
true.
are since this was like '82. Um,
Yep.
I love that you stay in the realm with the organ and the early classic rock, deep vocals, haunting melodies and lyrics, and it's still very visual. I think there's room, my long intro, I think there's room for all types of different styles of music as I listen to. But what in this genre though, I love this. I love what you're doing. I love the
Thank you.
creativity. It's like it's a and some people don't get it. Some people think it's like I can't relate to that. It's not modern. Like I get it. It's because part of it I think is theater and it's a package.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a big word, modern. When most of the bands sound exactly the same. We use the
Right.
same rigs and whatnot. It's modern. But okay. Yeah, whatever.
Well,
It's
you know
not
what I'm
for
saying, but
everyone. I agree.
yeah. And I think that's what's
It's
the
not meant
unfair.
to be.
No, but it's unfair that I think, and that's my point is, when I see not modern, obviously we're not. I'm not talking like way back in the day. I'm saying modern as it has to be like X amount of beats on Spotify, a hit machine. I'm saying it's not what is the hit of the week. I think people should check you guys out that have
Oh
it.
no, we don't want.
That's
Yeah,
I'm saying people. More people should be aware
we're
if you
not
know.
interested.
Right.
Yeah, they're
Like
aware of us. We are on Spotify and whatnot, and people, slowly come around to things. And with each record we've ever done, we've reached new, younger people. So something's going on.
I think that's great. When did you notice the biggest difference in the age difference? You like probably like parents, like moms and dads bringing their sons and daughters probably. Like I know a lot of people talk about how cool it is to have the generations kind of really kind of start creeping into the shows.
Yeah, some of that goes on, obviously. Yeah, other young people just discover it and then maybe turn their folks onto it, or their folks will still hate it. Whatever, who knows what the story is? I, I don't know. But you know what? Yeah, what we do is what we do. It's got the theater in it. It's got classical music elements in it. It's got metal. It's got the blues. It's got a little bit of all
Yeah.
sorts of stuff in this mixture that makes Virgin Steel heck, it's all the things that we grew up with, and that we are still absorbing new things that go on, new things in classical music, new things in whatever, in art in general, in life. We can't sit there and say, oh yeah, I'm still 14 years old and I'm going to write music like that. It doesn't work that way.
Well, not if it's not organic. No, it's hard. But one of my favorite things about this and I love original sounds and like you and like in Edward the guitar tone with your voice and the melodies is so original. Like there's nothing else out
Thank
there. And
thank you,
and
man.
you're welcome. It's and I mean it's the ultimate compliment. There's something about your melodies. It's almost criminal that more people don't know some of those melodies you've done. You know, I'm like this is really good. Like and the tone. It's not just the melody or just the lyrics. I mean your lyrics are good too, but I'm saying just vocally, those are not the
Thank
normal
you.
melodies you're hearing. And there's
No,
work put into those
most of
songs.
the Thanks, man. That's most of it arrives from the piano and then the voice, and I like to use a lot of chords and progressions that are not normally found in metal and
Hmm.
whatnot. So it gives the music another dimension. It's not all riff based, even though there are riffs. It's more harmonic progression based. That's how the music works.
Yep. Has it changed at all? Like, obviously, as you get older, your voice changes. Has it changed your songwriting with your voice too, or have you kind of changed your songwriting anyhow, and your voice is just following along? You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes people's voices, like not everyone has that Sammy Hagar voice that just like it's like tears the leather off a ball. I mean, I think your voice is the same, but I'm saying people, other singers would be like, I think my voice is changing. You know,
I mean, voices do morph and develop and go different ways along the way. And one year you might be doing one thing that's real easy now, and then the next year it's not, and something else that was difficult is back in. It's just strange with the
right,
voice.
right.
It's a muscle. But yeah, I don't really write uh, for the voice. It's not an afterthought, but I'm always thinking about just from a musical standpoint, where's the music going to go emotionally and structurally, harmonically, and then lay the melody on that. And I just say, okay, I've written this thing. Now I have to come to grips with putting the vocal on, and how am I going to deal with this? And then I'll beat myself up to get what I want out of the voice and out of my body, for the record, whatever it might have to do. Yeah. Luckily it's still flexible and can do a lot of different things. So I utilize those things, and I let the voice go where it wants to go. But the music really is just, is the music, is the emotion. What am I saying musically? What am I saying lyrically? And then the voice has to adapt to that. On this new record, it's a very violent record. So the voice took a very violent turn on this record,
Okay.
more so than
This is
some other.
I'm sorry, but let me speak over you. For people that aren't aware, there's a new album coming out.
Yep, there it
Um,
is.
and so we're talking about it's a pre-release. Is coming. When is it coming out?
The name of the album is The Passion of Dionysus,
Great name. Great
and it
artist.
has to do obviously with the god Dionysus and
Few
his
tracks already
suffering.
on iTunes too, if people are curious.
Yeah, there are several singles. There's another one that's due out tomorrow, I think. The Yeah,
Nice.
Black Earth
I'm
and Blood is
excited.
the actual shortest one on the record, and there are two that are out: Spiritual Warfare and the Gethsemane Effect. They're already out there, and then and the whole album comes out on the 30th.
Okay, that's awesome. I already have it in my queue, so I just wasn't sure because sometimes the dates change, and streaming is so weird. I never depend on it for anything because
Yeah,
the albums are
technology.
sometimes different. Like you ever see, like it'd be like one band and you go to see it and you're like, and also it's like a techno band. It's like a metal band and a techno band have the same name, and also you'll see that also in their albums or something. So I don't have a lot of faith in dates. So, but anyway, please talk to me about this album. Sorry, it's sidetracked. This album.
It should be out on the 30th. I think the label has taken every precaution, so all should work. Yeah.
Well, it does sound heavy, and I think, and usually like what's happened is, which is interesting because I do talk to a lot of artists and different types of music, and with the COVID and a lot of bands have had time to sit down and write their songs. And some of their albums sound a little different. They feel like they've done some of their best albums. From what I hear, it doesn't. I mean, it says your albums are always good, but it feels like I don't think COVID changed anything of you. I think you've kind of had your own pattern, and you kind of just kept trucking. And COVID was just happening, and
It didn't really affect me uh personally. I mean, yes, some friends of mine got ill and whatnot, and
but even the
family.
subject matter though of the
But
songs
yeah,
and stuff.
that stuff, it didn't affect my way of life. It didn't affect what I was doing, because I'm always in the studio. I'm always writing. I'm always doing something musical or creatively. So I just dove in even deeper. While that was going on, we managed to do this massive box set that had 5 discs in it, 3 new ones and 2 reissues. So, and then while that was going on, I was writing what became this record also, and we just went from that into tracking the new record, and also tracking the record that's going to be out after this. So I did a lot of writing. I just,
Wow.
a lot of writing and a lot of videos. We did several documentaries. One was about that 5 disc box set.
Hmm.
One was about one particular record in there called Gothic Voodoo Anthems. And one, we went back and we did like a movie thing, documentary about Visions of Eden, an earlier record, and then we did, I think it was like 11 song clips from all that stuff. So there was a lot of, there was a lot of action going on. Even though we weren't out doing gigs and stuff, there was still, a plethora of things to do.
And there is, and I just want to put an extra thing I want to throw out there. People check out the social media because I've seen some of this stuff already up on your YouTube page. So go to the YouTube page also. I'll have the link for all the stuff underneath the show on where if you're listening to it or streaming it or viewing it on YouTube or listen to it underneath the link, click on it afterwards and go to the site and support the artist. I always say that.
Cool.
Buy directly from the artist. If you're at a show, buy from the artist. If you can buy it even directly from the artist, not at the show, and beat the venue and save the 30%, hit me on charge. You don't have to say it. I can say it. I'm not an artist. It makes me crazy. Like I'm sorry, I don't get a tangent. I'm going to sound like Eddie Trunk about the Hall of Fame. it's so horrible that they do that. I agree with Eddie Trunk about the Hall of Fame too. But anyway, there's a lot of good stuff out there that people should start to resource to catch up on you and to get kind of joined in with it, you know.
I think that with the new record, that will, that always makes people go backwards. So there's been a lot of interest for the new singles that we did, and there will be from the new record. So then people say, what else do they got? And they go back if they just discovered us with this record, which is usually what goes on. They get, they get the new record and they go, oh, look, there's like a million other things that they did.
The backwards deep dive.
Yeah, they go in the deep dive, and some of which they'll like, some of which they might not. Whatever, everyone's different, and the records are all different. So, I mean, there is a thread that binds everything, but there are some very different avenues in some of those records.
I think it was neat what I heard. What turned me on to you guys was quite a while back, actually. And sometimes comparisons aren't always good, or they are good, but then they feel like you're always being compared to the band. Is if you're a fan of Deep Purple, which I love so much, you will like their newer stuff. How great is the new stuff? Even though his voice has changed, the new stuff is fantastic.
Oh, I mean, he's wonderful, Ian Gillan. Yeah, regardless of what era. Yeah,
but it's still a great voice. Like he's tops in my book. He's tops. Now, saying that, you guys don't sound like Deep Purple. There's a similarity, family tree. If you like that type of music, you'll have to like Virgin Steele, in my eyes. And that's what I got to. I'm like, all right, they don't sound like Deep Purple at all, but I get why people are comparing them because of the organ, the very melodic voice. It's a good company to be in, really.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
But you don't sound like Deep Purple, though,
okay,
so I want people to understand that. They don't. If you like that type of music, this is the perfect band for you. It's a good gateway drug band to get into, to follow you guys. The songwriting process for you, is it just you writing? Like, I think you probably write like a lot of it is mostly on the organ, right, or keyboard or piano or whatever, because it's very melodic first, and then you guys make it heavy.
Yeah, well, it's all built in to the. It's baked inside the cake, if you will. All that sort of metal, it still sounds like that if I just did it on the piano with the vocal. It's all built in. It's not like we need the cosmetics to make it that way. I mean, that stuff aids and abets for certain ears, that want that. But, the aggression and the strength of it all, the understanding of it is all there, even just with one instrument and the vocal. That's why I've gone out then. We've done stripped down gigs. Edward and I went out there, one acoustic guitar. I didn't even play any keyboards and just sang. And we did lots of shows that way. And on that Gothic Voodoo Anthems record, we did some stuff which was mainly just the piano and vocal and stuff like that to show how the songs are built. So yeah, what goes on is usually I sit down at the instrument and come up with what I come up with, and then especially on the last several records, and then I'll sit there with Edward. I'll show him what I've written. He learns it, and we record it straight away. He's very, very fast like that, And there are other records where I've sat with Edward and we've written songs together. He's got an idea, I come in and we build it together. Other times I've got an idea, he comes in and we bounce ideas with each other, and it goes from there. Songs like Wine of Violence, whatever example, is something that we wrote together. But he's the kind of guy that's just, he's not interested that he's got to have written something on the track. He just wants to play on something, which is really nice for me, because he's just is a real champion of the music, which is great. Like when I wrote I Will Come For You on from the Marriage album, he was just all jazzed up to play it. He didn't write anything on it. He was just really thought it was a great track, and went to bat for it. And that's the kind of guy he is, and I'm lucky to have him as a friend and to be in the group. He's wonderful.
That's fantastic to hear that, because and honestly, every group and every songwriting thing has its own dynamic. Sometimes it's like fire and ice, and they make these great songs. Sometimes they work together. Sometimes they layer together, all different ways. And I always like to hear the journey of the songwriting, because it's always amazing that it still comes out to be a certain way, no matter how people make it. But to hear this is great, and it does one of my favorite sayings is are you with all bands, and my favorite music is, and it goes to any of my music, is, are you serving the song? And as a player, he serves the song to what it needs, and that's really what it comes down to. Where you're not overplaying it. And he's a very tasteful, and I want to say from it, he's a fantastic guitar player, and he's very tasteful in his
Yes.
sound and his tone. And more people should know about him as a player because he's really good. But he doesn't have to
Oh,
overplay. He
absolutely.
plays to the song though, so it doesn't always seem as flashy because it's very important that he honors the music, the journey.
Yeah, that's exactly the way he's built. He's not about that. He doesn't have to like step all over everything. You know, that's not his thing. But on stage, yeah,
He can. He
go,
can. He
go.
can do it though. He can do it.
Yeah,
He just doesn't
yeah,
have to
of
do it.
course. He rips it out, and yeah, he enjoys doing that, and I encourage that a lot. Yeah, yeah, because he excels at that. So yeah, that's the nature of the beast. Recording is different, live is live, and sometimes never the twain shall meet. You know.
Now, there is a live piece I think actually on YouTube if I'm correct. It was just you, like you're talking about, just you doing vocals and another piece. It sounded
That would,
fantastic. Yeah, I would love to like if you did like a full album like that or something, or recorded something live on the road like an acoustic thing and just did it for the fans or something, you know, because it
we've
sounded
got
great.
something like that. Thank you, man. We've got something like that on the later version, the reissue of Invictus. There's an extra disc in there called Fire Spirits, and that's all that
Okay,
style. Yeah,
I haven't heard that part. I heard the
that
extra
was
stuff.
all live stuff that we did in basically in my living room, just straight up, not even multi-track, just the guitar and the vocal are on the
Yeah.
same stereo.
Well, and it's great. I mean, because you look back and some of your favorite bands. I mean, I love the bands. I always lean back to the '60s and the '70s. Obviously, I love the '80s and whatever, because it's real. The song holds true, and I'm like, this doesn't surprise me. It sounds great, but I'm like, it holds true to how the song was written.
Yeah,
Very raw and very empty. And if you can do that with any song, and then you make it big and puffy and put the details on it, a good song with all kinds of great stuff on it too can be fantastic. It can
oh
be
yeah, oh yeah, oh
deliciously
yeah,
decadent with all kinds of
oh
bells and
yeah.
whistles. You know,
Sure,
but you
sure.
gotta
It's
do it
like
right. You gotta do it
having,
right though. You gotta know when to stop, when to say well. But hearing it stripped back is still the basis of the food, the meal, and that's something that plays well to you as a musician and to your band. Because I mean, those are the songs.
that's it. You know, if you can strip it naked and it still works, then you know you've got it. And that's when I say, all right, it's working this way. Let's bring it in the studio and let's put it on the album. If it didn't make that, then it wouldn't get on the record. You know, okay, that's not grown up yet. Maybe it'll never grow up. Put it, you know, on the shelf there. And sometimes you revisit it. Sometimes, you know, I have thousands of cassettes with ideas and stuff that, you know, along the way. Yeah, and some have blossomed and are on the records, and some have yet to be they're fully explored. So this always, because I'm always writing new things, and so you don't always go back to those. You're always like, oh, I just got this, and I have my cassette player sitting, cassette mind you, sitting on the piano with this like built-in microphone. And when I like something, all right, let's document that so we don't forget it. And or sometimes I don't document it. I want to see if the brain remembers it, then I know it's good. And then I work from there. And once it's built, once it's there and arranged on cassette, then I'll bring it in the studio. I'm not one of these guys who goes into the studio and puts on all the gear and starts writing. That's not how I do it. I always go from the real basic format where I actually writing. I'm not trying to track the song before it's been written. You know, that's
Right.
a different thing. Yeah.
That would give me anxiety. I gotta say, like when bands would used to do that, especially a while back, the big labels, they'd go into the studio and write in the studio. The thought of sitting there trying to think about something with all that money would have given me an anxiety attack, and I couldn't. I'm like, this is a waste. But
Yeah.
but that being said, like when
Some
you
guys
were,
do this.
I, mean, I know, but like when you're writing, because you also play acoustic guitar and regular guitar and stuff, are you playing your instruments like like I guess it might feel like an average day for you. Are you picking up instruments and singing and strumming, or like just you sit down, you writing mode? Because some artists, when they're not touring, they put their stuff away, they don't do anything, and they take a break. Some artists are like, I have a guitar or a piano in almost every room. And some are
Yeah.
like, I get up every day from 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock. I've heard this 8 o'clock, 12 o'clock. I'm doing this, or on this date at this time, we're starting the album. And that was Jethro Tull actually. Ian Anderson says, I said the next album's going to be done on this date at this time. I said, wow, that's pretty precise. He goes, I was late. I said 9 o'clock. It was like 10 o'clock, and he was like down on himself. I'm like, that's pretty precise. Like, and
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
but what
No,
I'm
I'm
saying is
always, like I said,
there's a way. Okay.
I'm always writing. I'm never not writing. I'm always in either I got an idea for a lyric and I'll jot that down and I'll build on that later, or I'll stay with it till it's done. You know, sometimes we just don't want to let it go. Or I got a musical idea. I can be out there mowing the lawn, and all of a sudden I get this flash, and then I say, "Oh, lawn's got to wait." I run to the keyboard, do my bit, document it, go back, finish the lawn, come back, finish the song. You know, yeah, it's that's the way it is. If you're, that's what I mean. I think of myself more as a writer, you know, composer than I do as a singer. You know, that's my main thing. So I'm always doing that. It's
Have you written
never
for
I'm
other
never
artists?
watching.
Have you written for
Sorry.
other have you done any writing for other artists? It seems like you have so much
Yeah,
material.
I have done some writing. Yeah, yeah. There was a girl, a singer who was in a band called Skylark. I don't know if you know them. They're from Italy,
Hmm.
and she did an EP. She had a bunch of lyrics and some, you know, scattered melodies and whatnot. And I wrote all the music for that and arranged all that, and she did it in my studio. That was a while back. Generally, I don't write for other people because, you know, whatever I do, everybody wants to, in the band wants to use it for the Virgin Steel, so it stays generally intact with the, with the group.
Which is not
But
a
it's, you
bad
know,
problem. It's a good problem to have. It's just like because you seem to be very prolific and the structures of your songs are so good, to be a young band that needs some help, that's some good material, you know.
you know, I'm not opposed to it if someone wants to do something of that nature and reaches out. You know, I will entertain the thought. I'm very approachable in that way. Yeah.
You know, it's funny you said something that made me laugh, and I'm not. It sounds like I'm name dropping. I'm not, but we're talking the process of songwriting, and you said sometimes you record it. And I love that you use a cassette player because I love like anything old myself because I'm old, and so that's why I like old things. But sometimes the old process is easier. Like I like just play my guitar and or play my record player, or sometimes it's just nice to just disconnect.
Yeah.
But as far as the song though, like writing it down, and recording to me seems very important because I have a horrible memory. We're talking to Glenn Matlock, bass player from Sex Pistols, when they were writing the Sex Pistols album and stuff. He goes, you know, when I write a song, he goes, I might be out taking a walk or something. He goes, or whatever comes to me. He goes, I've been taking a lot of walks, so that's kind of the speed of my songs. You know, he was talking about singing songs at that bass. I am an
Yeah.
antichrist. Like, but he says that one of the things that he goes, I don't write it down or anything. He goes, I remember it. He goes, if I don't remember it, if I can't remember it, why would anybody else remember it? So that's his
Well,
benchmark.
that's it. Yeah.
I couldn't do
Yeah.
that because I forget my kid's name still. I don't know my dog's name half the time. It would not be fair for me to judge that. You know what I'm saying? If I can't remember your name, who's going to remember your name, kids? You know, you got, to me,
That's
it's
it.
different
That's
though, I
it.
think.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I, you know, sometimes I'll do a bit on my little tape and then put it away, and a week or so or whatever later I'll listen back and I'll listen to all those ideas. And, wow, I really like that. I didn't remember what I played, so I got to learn it again. So, oh yeah,
Yeah.
wow, that's really good. And you build it, and that's also another way that, you know, it's if it's exciting you, like you were listening to you know, something by Led Zeppelin or whatever, then you know,
Yeah.
I'm onto it. So let me stay with that. Yeah. And if it doesn't excite me, then I was like, you know, it was a finger exercise, something like
Well,
that.
well, it's never wasted because it's always practice for the better good. And I think I've done that when I've done things, or I've read things I've done, whether it's been on media or with the show and stuff in the past. I forget things and I go back to it. And I read something. I'm like, oh, that was me who wrote that. Oh, I don't how I got that was good. I don't can't I forgot I came up with that. I actually thought somebody else did it. It was like, you know, so it's nice to see. It's almost like I forget it. I relearned I did something. It's a surprise, you know.
It's
But
magic.
it's but
It's
it's
a
a
magic.
test.
Yeah.
It's a test if you can go back and actually like it with fresh ears again or fresh eyes
That it
on
is.
something.
That it definitely is. Yeah. And I listen to all the Virgin Steel records as if I would listen to Zeppelin or Queen or whatever else. I mean, for my own enjoyment. That's why we make them, you know, because years ago we were like, we're not hearing stuff always that we want to listen to, so let's create our own, you know, that
Mm-hmm.
kind of a thing. All right, so there
Well,
it is. And
yeah.
you know, and it's also like I mean, all these lyrics, it all relates to where I was at any given moment in my life. So when I listen to it, like, there I am, I remember that relates to this person or, you know, thing or whatever it was, you know. So it all comes flashing back in the old transom.
With your songwriting now though, and like with this new album, like you're not slowing down. You guys, like I said, 1982. You know, and the music's stays similar. Obviously, the songs as a songwriter have gotten better. Not that they're bad, but they become a little more intricate, more
Yeah.
layers to them. obviously the production's gotten better. I think the production probably killed some of the earlier albums because I think I listened to it. I'm like, man, that's a great song. I would just go for recording prior to doing this, like a long time ago, like 1990, no, 90. I would just go for actually analog recording. And
Great.
then in the digital. My point is, I'm very critical about production songs, and so I mean, it's no insult, but I mean, the first couple albums, I'm like, man, there's some great songs in there, even if they were just produced just a little bit more with certain things showing better. God,
Sure.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's
There's
good
no
songwriting
money in
there.
those days.
No, it's
No
not a
money
dig
in
towards
those
you
days.
guys by any means. I mean, it's everyone was in that spot. I'm just saying, back then, even if the songs were good, they just
Yeah.
if if somebody listened to it now, it might seem like not as popping. You have to listen to it and really listen to it because some of the stuff nowadays that would be up more in the mix just weren't there yet because economy of recording.
Yeah. 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 It was first record we did in less than a week. Uh, Basically live in the studio, and it was 8 track, and we had very limited budget, and it was a really really small studio, and the engineers were just getting underway with their craft and whatnot, and it was as good as it was going to be at
It's
that
still
point.
pretty good though. That's the thing. I mean, it's not. I'm not knocking it. I'm just talking about especially
Yeah,
the
no, I
first
get it.
thing. Like it's not bad, but I'm saying, but I'm giving you credit to those albums. Like the songwriting has always been really good out of the gate. You know what I mean? It just wasn't because your music. I think actually, even if it had other producers, I think it takes a special kind of production to bring out. Most music, though. I mean, if you don't favor the right part or you don't do the right part from some music, it won't pop. And I think
Yeah,
you're
you've
more of
got
a
to
niche.
understand. The
Right,
engineers got to understand what it is you're trying to do musically.
right,
Sometimes they want to put their own stamp on there, which doesn't always work for the
right.
what you are trying to do. We've had a share of that over the years and whatnot. A lot of battles gone on, but at the end of the day, we managed to nail down what it was. We were the emotion, the violence, the violent beauty of what we were trying to do, and get it all out there and show people what it was. And I listened to even those marriage records. Those were also done really, really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But the engineer was, pretty cool and getting down what we wanted to get going. Um, yeah, so we had no budgets either for either of those records, but whatever it was, and it worked, and we're still around, still doing it. So
Yeah,
and I still listen to those records and everything else we've done. So
as I do too. I do too. I'm not a knock. That's what I'm saying. I feel like I don't feel like I was knocking you by any means. I'm not. I'm saying
no, no, I get it. I get where
I've
you're at.
read people talk. I've read things about it, and it kind of bothers me because I'm like, I think I wanted to talk about. It wasn't that the songs have always been good, just the wrong production. Someone trying to make you sound like one thing that you're not. It's not going to be flattering for anybody. If somebody want to make Aerosmith sound like a goth band, it's not going to sound good. You need somebody to make Aerosmith sound like a rock band. Like so, if you're not featuring certain things of the band, they're going to sound
Yeah,
horrible
yeah,
or
yeah.
not to what they're supposed to be. You're like that's not who is that. So I'm saying that's the difference is hearing some of the music being spot on is the way the songs have always been. You know, that's the point.
It's all a matter of it's all a matter of studio and fact, and it's all a matter of the moment, getting as good as it can be within that window of time. You got
Yeah.
hoping for the best, and that's it. Some records, even the later ones, I would have liked to spend more time on some of the Atreus records as well, and whatever, all the stuff. I've never been, 1,000% satisfied with any of the records. I always want to go in and keep mixing them. When we did the last box set, after I delivered the record, I was still mixing the record, the three new ones. I was still mixing stuff from them after I delivered the record. So if I ever reissue that stuff, is new mixes.
That's
Because
that's
it gets very, very crazy after a while, because you're in there and you're in the space, and if there are not a lot of other people around you, sometimes if the band is not dropping in every now and again as they should be, so like Edward would drop in and go, oh yeah, I love that, it's great, and then that fuels you up, and okay, maybe you stop working on that and you work on something else, and after a while, if somebody isn't doing that for me, I'm thinking, I'm always like the worst critic. I was saying, it's got to be better, got to be better. So I go back in and try to make it better, and whatever better is, And I mean, people try to tell me about certain records. Oh, this record sounds amazing, and I listen to it, and it sounds like complete crap to me. So I don't
Yeah,
know what they're getting. Everyone has different ears, and no one's ears are the same. And if everybody's sticking things in their ears, who knows what high end has been lost over the years, you know. So I'm not sure what some people are hearing, but whatever. It's all in the ear of the beholder, and that's all fine and dandy. And that's why I also like the stripped down versions of things. It's more direct. You know, it's like boom, there it is. There's a song, there's the melody. Those are the chords, and either you like it or you don't. Never mind all the cosmetics.
exactly. I think, but it's easy for me to hear the greatness of everything. Especially when you hear the new stuff. You know what it sounds like. You can go back and go, oh, I get it now. You hear the old stuff. It's kind of for me, even easier to go back and hear the old stuff. So I'm like, I kind of get what's going on now. I didn't see that at first because I was listening to something different. But that
Yeah.
being said, so the new album, as we kind of wrap this up, I wanted to say, like, what's the plan now? Because being released, some shows. How are we gonna promote this? Besides, what can people the fans
Oh,
look forward to?
sure. We'd have several videos. There'll be a few more videos. We might do one of those documentary movie things because I've got some footage that we've been stockpiling. And then we are doing dates. We're going to Spain in August. We're also going to Crete, and we're going later on to Italy. So we're slowly adding shows here. And I've been doing interviews since, I don't know, May. And I think there's more on the horizon and whatnot. So yeah, we're doing whatever we can do and
Cool.
whatever the label wants to do to keep the thing moving. Just yesterday was, I believe, radio ads in the U.S. and there was quite a few. So that's a good
Yeah,
sign. Yeah.
it is good. Well, I'm being a U.S. person. I'm up in New England, so you're pretty local,
All right.
considering
Cool.
tri-state,
Where where,
right?
where, where are you
Hartford.
in the?
I'm actually outside of
Oh, okay.
Hartford. So yeah,
Okay.
not too far away from where you guys are. So it's good to see some hometown people. So, our area, the coast. Not a lot of bands doing that. Do you think you? I think, and this is just, I think not just you guys, but I think what really kept a lot of bands going, especially during grunge, was Europe's love for metal and not flip flopping on styles of music. They've always been pretty loyal. Do you find your audience
Yeah.
is probably more loyal, and you've had certain places over in Europe that have held on because they like what they like and it doesn't change, whereas the American music market is so finicky for everyone.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, they if they liked you then, generally they still like you today, and there's more of them for Virgin Steel anyway, because the labels we've been on have always been mostly over there.
Yeah,
Um, so and we've done much more touring over there. So yeah, that's the other thing. Outside
there's
of
a lot of bands that do that.
New
Yeah,
York,
I mean, it's pretty awesome. I know.
it
I
just
think it's
works for
great.
I don't know why. Well, maybe I do know. In a way, the band always, I guess, sounded more European than an American band. You know, it didn't sound like Van Halen or Bon Jovi or Motley. It's more like, like you said, Deep Purple or
Right.
Queen, Zeppelin. That's sort of other things, UFO, whatever you want to mention.
Yeah.
So that's might be the reason. But we were actually Music for Nations, MFN1. We were the very first release from this new English label when we did the second album,
Yeah.
and then they put out our first album also. After us, they signed Rat, Metallica, Manowar, etc., Wasp. But we were MFN1. Yeah,
Wow. That's pretty cool.
that
Good
was
bragging
neat. Yeah,
rights. That
yeah.
is very cool. This I want to thank you. This has been fun. I've enjoyed this. I've been a fan for quite a while. I think you're quite a niche artist. I don't think enough people have been able to check out because of one thing or the other. Because someone's like, they don't like Image, and it has to be just a rock band, or it has to be like, you know, it's because with you guys, it's a package, and I think people just need to open their ears and listen to some great music.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Sean. Well, you're spreading the word, so that's
Yeah, that's
I'm
why you're
sure
on
a few
here.
more folks will know. Yeah,
That's right. Thank you.
absolutely. Yeah,
People
yeah.
check out the album at, you said, actually June 30th. So that's like in like a couple of days.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So check it out. Thanks, man. I want to thank you for being on the show. You take care.
Thank you, Sean. Good
Take
to
care.
chat with you. You will.
Take
Take
care.
care.
Bye.
Yeah.